It is the PantherLair Show on TribLIVE Radio. Chris Peak sitting here thinking about how we're in a weird time because football-wise, you're in between signing day and spring practice, and then basketball, the Panthers have sort of played themselves into a weird position because after that loss at Virginia on Monday night, NCAA tournament hopes seem a bit darker, seem a bit dimmer, don't they? Joe Lunardi at ESPN doesn't have them in the first four out or the next four out, so they're not even one of the next 8 teams to possibly get into the NCAA tournament. The BPI on ESPN ranks them number 83. The RPI as of Wednesday had them number 47, and the resume overall just isn't all that impressive. I mean, there's just not a whole lot to write home about, and I think when you're in a situation like that, when you're in a situation like this, your thoughts tend to look toward the future. And I hear that when I talk to Pitt fans or I read the message boards or read Pitt Twitter. People talk about the future. And quite frankly, the future for the Pitt Hoops team is kind of bright. You look at the core of this team that's returning, Mike Young, Jamel Artis, Sheldon Jeter with what he's been doing, plus the return of Deron Johnson and James Robinson playing as a senior. You still don't have a center, but the core is pretty solid. It looks pretty positive. Next year, it looks like that'll be a year where they really bounce back and get it together. And that kind of got me back to football, and that kind of got me thinking about football again, because that's the common refrain all the time, isn't it? That next year is going to be a good year. There's always next year. Next year's when they'll get it done. You know, go back to 2007, ending with the 13-9 game against West Virginia. Said, man, they're going to be great next year. 2008, that's their year. Same thing after the 2009 season. They win 10 games. They have Dion Lewis coming back next year. They're going to be great in 2010. That's the year. After the 2011 season, for like the week or two that Todd Graham was still there, said, well, wait till next year when he gets his players here. Or after the 2012 season, wait till next year. Wait till Paul Christ gets his players here. And now we're here in 2015. And I started wondering, are we going to hear it again? Is it wait till next year? Wait till Pat Narduzzi gets his players here? But I started thinking, like, what if it doesn't take until next year? What if instead of Pat Narduzzi needing to get his players in, he wins with what he actually inherits? You know, Dave Wanstead needed to get his players in, and Todd Graham needed to get his players, and Paul Christ needed to get his players and build his team. What if Pat Narduzzi just wins with these players? You know, what if Chad Voitic continues the second half improvement he made last season, and James Conner and Tyler Boyd continue being James Conner and Tyler Boyd, and the offensive line continues to be really strong, and here's the big wild card, of course. What if the defense improves, not because of personnel, but just simply on the presence of Pat Narduzzi alone? This team was so close to 7, 8, 9 wins in 2014. What if Pat Narduzzi brings a real, tangible step forward in 2015? What if, and sit down for this, what if the program actually gets better? They've had 4 consecutive 6-6 regular seasons and really 5 years of taking steps backwards since 2009. So it's hard to believe that that's even possible. But, I mean, really, Pat Narduzzi, he's got the talent he inherited on offense. He's got the pedigree, which is himself, on defense. So why not? I mean, I think there's a legitimate reason to believe that next season can be a good one for Pitt Hoops. And maybe fate and fortune could go against the kind of ingrained expectations of Pitt fans. And maybe next season will be a good one for Pitt football, too. Or maybe I'm just in a weird in-between period where the Hoops team seems to be on the outside looking in, and the football team is wrapped up signing day but hasn't started spring practice yet. So, who knows?